The following is a presentation of the Broadband Universe, brought to you in part by Vitruvi, the end-to-end GIS-based construction management platform that connects asset owners, operators, general contractors, and subcontractors for unmatched project control and collaboration. Manage every aspect of your telecommunications or utility infrastructure construction program with Vitruvi. Build faster, reduce costs, improve quality. Book your demo today on vitruvisoftware.com to see how we can help you build at scale. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Broadband Universe podcast. I'm Craig Corbin, and it is a pleasure to welcome today's guest, the CEO of FirstLight, Kurt Van Wagenen. Kurt, welcome to the Broadband Universe.
Well, thank you, Craig. It's great to be here with you today, and I really appreciate your interest in FirstLight Fiber.
Absolutely. We're excited to learn more. And of course, you have been president and CEO there at FirstLight since 2013. You serve as the chair of the board of directors. And of course, your background within the industry is phenomenal. You earned an MBA from the Harvard Business School, as well as a BS in chemical engineering from Rensselaer Polytechnic, and have been so involved in so many things throughout the industry. For those who don't know about FirstLight, of course, you're based in Albany, New York. Give us that bird's eye view of FirstLight, if you would.
Yeah, sure, Craig. We're a super regional fiber-based services provider in the communications industry. So we're really broadband infrastructure. We serve over 15,000 customers. They range from small and medium business customers to large enterprise customers, to the largest wireless carriers, quite frankly, in the world. Our network is largely facilities-based. We have a 25,000 route mile network across the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic in the 6 states we serve. And we're continuing to invest and grow and meet the needs of customers, with a heavy focus on the unserved and underserved areas that many folks have been hearing about on a regular basis.
And that is so vitally important right now as we talk about the need for connectivity, that the pandemic obviously highlighted the tremendous need for having connectivity. And a big part of our conversation today obviously has dealt with what went on in 2022 with the addition to the footprint. And prior to 2022, I know FirstLight had constructed, I think, 8,000 route miles across New York State. But last year was an extremely busy year as far as network expansion. And I think the goal was upwards of 1,700 additional route miles. Tell us how that went.
Well, it went extremely well. We did meet our goal of building out an additional 1,700 route miles of fiber in New York State. The fiber we built out was largely based on contracts we had with customers. So we do build typically based on customer contracts with a commitment, a hard commitment in terms of delivery. And if you might imagine, very, very challenging to build out fiber network just generally. But when you talk about the Northeast, and particularly in New York State, tough terrain, tough weather conditions, it's difficult to build, and we're really, really pleased with being able to meet our commitment and our goals of building out another 1,700 route miles in 2022 in New York State.
Let's talk about that. When we refer to the footprint of FirstLight and we look at New York State, where does that footprint lie?
So we have 6 states that we serve across the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. So I'll walk through them. So it's Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, New York, and Pennsylvania. New York is the largest of the states that we serve. It is the largest network that we have now. We're bordering 10,000 route miles of fiber, which we'll reach in 2023. In terms of network in New York State. It is also the home to our headquarters in Albany, New York, although we have regional offices in all of the states that we serve, and we have local FirstLight folks in all of the states we serve. It's a key differentiator for us to have a local presence in the markets where our customers are.
And when we talk about the customer base for FirstLight and the expansion of the network, literally thousands of office buildings and healthcare facilities, government facilities, educational institutions. Talk about that.
Sure. In New York State alone, we serve 5,000 on-net buildings. And with a network of, as I mentioned, nearly 10,000 route miles of fiber, we have another 82,000 buildings that we call near-net buildings that are close enough
Right.
to our network where we can reach them pretty quickly with short lateral builds off of our existing fiber network. So an extensive network serving many, many locations across the footprint, and a whole range of customers, as I mentioned, everything from the largest wireless carriers in the world to large enterprise customers. I'll talk a little bit about our gold vertical customers, which include education,
Right.
healthcare, state and local government, finance. Those are some of the large enterprise customers we serve as well.
When you talk about those vertical markets that you just made mention of, one that obviously has a tremendous need for dependable service, great bandwidth, that's the healthcare industry. Talk about how that has been a focus for FirstLight.
Yeah, it's a core market or sector for us. We've had
Hmm.
very, very good success with healthcare companies. And if you think about healthcare, healthcare is not an industry that is in any single geography. It's in all geographies. Where there are
Right.
people, there are healthcare providers. So our network, which largely serves tier two and tier three markets, is really well designed to be able to serve various healthcare providers in the various markets. The types of products they serve are also, core to what we deliver to a broad range of customers. It includes everything from broadband services to ELAN services to unified communications, as well as data center services. Increasingly, an important product set for healthcare providers.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because data centers obviously a huge part of the portfolio for FirstLight. Talk about how that has evolved over the years.
Yeah, it's an important part of our infrastructure are our data centers. We have 15 data centers. They are locally based in the markets that we serve. They provide everything from high density cabinets to co-location for our wholesale customers and our large telco customers as well. So they are an important part of the product set that we sell to customers. And the way we differentiate ourselves with our data centers versus some of the national data center providers is, we bundle our network with our data center solutions. So we're a one-stop shop for our large customers in the geographies that also use our data centers.
Awesome. You're watching the Broadband Universe podcast brought to you by Lit Communities. Light up your community. You deserve better internet. By Vetro FiberMap, radically simpler fiber management. And by Vitruvi, built faster, reduce costs, improve quality. And my guest, Kurt Van Wagenen, CEO of FirstLight. And we were just talking about the great variety of organizations served by FirstLight, and I would be remiss if we didn't touch on the recent addition of the North American Transport Partner status of DECIX, the worldwide leader in Internet exchange operations. Talk about that as far as FirstLight is concerned.
Yeah, it's interesting. We have a lot of partnerships. That's an important one for us because it broadens our product portfolio, our relationships with our various vendor community. In the markets that we serve, tier two and tier three markets, and increasingly unserved and underserved markets, there's not a lot of alternative solutions for customers. There's typically, two to three providers at most. So we're all pretty much expected to have a broad product portfolio to meet all the needs of our customers. And we know at FirstLight we can't do it all ourselves. So we do have partners and vendors that we rely on and have for many, many years, really, really good partners that help us, meet the needs of the various customers across the footprint.
That's exciting. One of the things that I think is interesting when we talk about the expansion of a fiber network is learning about exactly what goes into that process. And so many people in the industry, yes, you've added X number of route miles, but they don't really know about the process itself, the bores that go on, the trenching that goes on, and talk about the team at FirstLight that makes that reality.
Yeah, to kind of put it in terms that many folks may understand, I mean, anybody who's had the experience of building a new house from the ground up, realizes just how complex, architecting a house and building a house and constructing a house on a single piece of land is. You then kind of transpose that to building a network across a large geography, and it's just magnified in terms of the design requirements, the permitting requirements, the right-of-way requirements, digging up streets, boring under streets. How do you lay fiber on utility poles and work, with utility providers, what's called make ready, to provide space on those poles so that you can deploy. As I mentioned, in the Northeast, to do that with really challenging weather conditions is a very, very difficult task. To do it during a COVID environment with the pandemic was shutting down not only a lot of businesses, but a lot of the state agencies that we have to work with to get permitting to get these routes built. So we're very, very pleased with our workforce and just how hard they work. They're incredibly talented. We have over 600 employees in the company, FirstLight employees. We also work with other outside contractors as well. And the one kind of big development for us that really helped us, really, I guess it was just fortuitous that we made this acquisition back in 2019. We bought a company called Todd Cable Construction. Todd was our largest construction contractor, and we realized that we needed to insource construction capability. So we bought Todd and brought the whole team in. And Todd Warmingham, who was the founder of Todd Cable Construction, runs our construction group. The benefit of that acquisition alone has just been immense, particularly during this tough pandemic. We built, prior to the 2019 acquisition, we had built 1,000 route miles of fiber. In 2018, we built 2,000 route miles of fiber. In 2019, we built 4,000 route miles of fiber. In 2020, during the heart of the pandemic and everything that was unknown during the pandemic, it was our biggest build year ever. And it's really a testament to the good team and the hard work that they put in every single day in trying conditions.
You talk about the hard work that goes into that and the immense number of miles that have been constructed. And one of the challenges with any build is dealing with the variety of challenges geographically. And I know that is certainly the case in the Empire State. Talk about some of those hurdles.
Yeah, it's geography, right? Everything, from mountains to lakes to storms to ice, to different pole conditions to different utility providers. But we also deal with and work very closely with a lot of state agencies and local agencies. And as you might imagine, there's various approaches and policies and procedures that we need to be aware of when we're working with any of these, local municipalities or state agencies or, various utilities. So it's a very complex process. There's a lot that goes into it, as you mentioned, and it's just, one of those things that we do on a day-to-day basis and, maybe tend to take it for granted. But when you really look at just what goes into it, it's, it's a real benefit to us to have the talent we do insourced at the company doing this hard work every single day.
That's incredible, and we always are in awe of the teams that accomplish those things because it is so incredible when you look at all the challenges that come along with that. But in the end, so many people benefit from that. And one of the things that you touched on early in the conversation, Kurt, was the fact that a big focus with the expansion of the footprint, expanding the network, is to reach the underserved and unserved areas of the regions that FirstLight has a presence in. There's been no time in history where it's of a greater importance than now. Talk about how that has been a driving force for the company.
Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head when you said there's no greater time right now, and there's no greater need. I mean, I think what the pandemic has shown us
Yeah.
is that broadband services, to businesses and to residential customers are, not a nice to have service anymore. They are an essential service, to allow people to work from home, to learn from home, telemedicine, and,
Yeah.
just a plethora of other types of applications and services going forward, but also for safe and healthy, uh, um, uh, just for safety and health, just from a communication standpoint, to allow consumers to communicate, customers to communicate during challenging times, outages, weather conditions. So what we've done is, as we built out the network, we edge out in the core network. So we'll build them based on large contracts with customers. But we're able to leverage that fiber to then serve other business customers, to serve residential customers in our ILEC territory up in Maine, to work with other wholesale customers that serve residential customers that leverage our network as well to meet the needs of those consumers in unserved and underserved areas.
We touched earlier in the conversation on the data centers that are part of the portfolio, many other services that are provided through FirstLight, co-location, security, obviously monitoring. That's a big issue. DDoS seems like it's in the news on a weekly basis. Talk about being able to provide services beyond just the fiber itself.
Yeah, that's another one that is not widely known to folks who look at a fiber company and think it's all just about big internet pipes. They're an important and growing product set for us, internet service, but it's all of those other services that you talk about that are so necessary, particularly in smaller markets where there's not a lot of alternatives. So unified communication services, everything's from just straight voice services to other types of unified communications platforms, monitoring the services. You think about big utilities, how critical it is for them to understand what is happening on the
Yes.
network at any given time. You think about cloud-based services as well now, and just how important it is to have that, hopefully unlimited capacity in the cloud, for data and things like that. So we do have a full range of services that we provide to our customers. And I mentioned we've done, I believe I mentioned we've done 17 acquisitions, or sorry, 13 acquisitions since 2017. A lot of those acquisitions, brought capabilities to our company, not just networks. Specifically Colo Space, we acquired a really nice cloud platform in addition to 4 data centers. TruePath, we acquired a monitoring set of robust capabilities. Todd Cable Construction, we acquired the construction capabilities. So our acquisitions aren't just about more network and expanding, it's also about capabilities and building out our product set, as well as adding talented employees to our organization.
And that is the perfect segue into the classic crystal ball question. Having you look down the road, 5, 10 years from now, at what FirstLight will be at that point.
Well, that's always a tough question because we're always looking at today and tomorrow and at this,
Right.
really kicking off 2023 and what do we have to do in 2023. But I think what's been proven in our industry is that, number one, it's incredibly dynamic, always evolving, and we are a fast growing industry with really great tailwinds behind us. So we continue to see exciting opportunities for growth in our business and in our industry. We've been acquisitive in the past. We know, and the industry, consolidates over time. We know that scale matters in terms of credibility and size and economy of scale. So I think all of that is going to continue to make this a very dynamic and interesting industry to follow, and for me, to be involved with. One of the specific items for 2023, however, is the stimulus funding programs.
Yeah.
As folks know, there's billions of dollars being allocated to broadband deployment, particularly in unserved and underserved markets. The first round of middle market grants, will be awarded in March. We did apply for middle market grants in each of the 6 states we serve, and I'll point out that we do have the largest open access network across our footprint today. So we're looking to leverage that with some of these grants. We don't know how that'll work out, but we'll find out pretty early in 2013.
Well, that's a great reason for us to get back together down the road to see how that all works together. Congratulations on a phenomenal 2022. Best of luck in approaching the new year, and so excited to learn more about FirstLight.
Yeah, well, thank you, Craig. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And on behalf of Kurt, I'm Craig. Thanks for letting us be a part of your day. We'll see you next time right here on the Broadband Universe. Happy New Year, everyone.